So welcome to another unboxing. So this just arrived and we're doing a tape-on unboxing. Usually I preemptively take out any invoices or anything to stop from doxing myself, but this time we're just going to cut the tape off and see what happens. It's one of those adjustable size boxes, so it's a little bit oddly taped, but let's take a look. I may peek inside and reorient the box for the camera, and then also, see if the address or anything is right on top. But yeah, I just got notification that this showed up, and I saw online people were getting theirs. So this is, in case you didn't know from the title, the new edition. There we go. Look at that. Adjustable box. This is the exact dimensions of the box. This is the 4th edition of Twilight 2000, and all the noise and packing. You have the nice squeaky bubble sheets. But as you can see, it comes, very well packed. So let's not fuss around with the box any more than we need to. So this is the Deluxe edition and the Game Master screen. So looks like everything is all wrapped in one little package. So there we go. Yeah, so a lot of padding. It's very well protected in there. And here is everything in that arrives. So it's a pretty big box. This little bit that meant it could be well protected, and especially since this is the metal box version, this is something you don't want to get dented because it's not going to get undented anytime soon. So here is the referee's screen. And it looks like another one of their more horizontal, kind of a B5, like 3B5 or horizontal, which is nice because there's tokens and hex maps in this game, so you are going to be reaching over. So I think that's a design decision that they've made a lot recently, especially Free League, when you're interacting with the tabletop a lot more. So a deluxe referee's screen in landscape format for the 4th edition of Twilight 2000 roleplay. It features beautiful art on the outside and hosts a host of useful tables and important information on the inside, while keeping the referee's plans hidden from the eyes of inquisitive players. So it doesn't look like there's any additional material, like no like little booklet about helping you run things or any additional like one-shots or anything. Sometimes that happens, so we'll open that later and get straight to the main event. Oh, nice. So an ammo box full of RPG. So I hope it feels like there's a lot of extra room in there. I hope there is, because I want to be able to keep as much as possible in here. And this is definitely going to get me going to army surplus stores and ordering all kinds of thematic things for the table. All right, so let's see if there's anything. So nothing on the back. And there's the Free League logo and the Twilight 2000 all the way around. Yeah, so just your standard tin, your standard tin box, and it's got a nice distressed look, and it's marked like an ammo box. So let's get into this. So of course this isn't going to be great on the shelf. I guess it's not going to be that. It's pretty deep. It's not going to be that bad because it does have the game on the spine. You could actually put it on a shelf, and with board games and things it wouldn't be that out of place, but not as shelvable as the regular box. Nice. So let's get inside. Yeah. So a very standard kind of metal tin. Oh, and some silica in there. And yeah, Free League's got enough going on that they oh yeah, you've got a really noisy dice tray if you need it. We'll try that one out later. Yeah, I can't imagine. That'll keep people awake. And then Free League's little pack-in game catalog. Yeah, they've got quite a catalog now, and we just unboxed that recently. So let's take a look. So the first thing's right on top. Nice, our secret, top secret memo. So these look like setups for, descriptions of different settings, and I know they have the two different settings in the game. Wow, these are really cool. And so if you can't tell, they're really heavy coat, probably like the same paper stock and coating as the map is going to be. And there's a map itself, so these must be the scenarios. So kind of, yeah, they're two different scenarios set up. Yeah, these are really durable, so they're not going to go anywhere. They could use some paper clips and things stuck to them as well. And the maps are all right on top here. So you can see there's hexes. They're pretty light. You can see that, yeah. So this is all going to be hex-based, and you have squares. So very old school in that look, and I think reminiscent of the original versions of the game. The hex-based with square counters or tokens in there. So there's a higher up view of a bombed out location, maybe bombed out town, and there's maybe prior to. Nice, yeah, but they're the same, and even the same dimension. Yeah, everything is like a folded, looks like a folded, not quite A3, like a folded B4. Nice. But really heavy coating. It feels like you could draw on these with dry erase pretty easily if you needed to mark events and hexes that have changed. And so a little bit different scale. The hex remains the same, but a little bit different scale. A few of these. Whoa, and here. So they had a playtest and a beta that came out for the Kickstarter backers that had these maps as PDFs, and so I printed out these maps, and because of certain circumstances in the world, we never get a chance to play. So here's Poland. Let's see if this is a reversible, if there's two separate maps. So here's the hex map of the Poland field of engagement, and there we go. Yeah, and Sweden on this side. Nice. Yeah, there's Oslo in neighboring Norway and everything. Yeah, so you have the reversible map, and of course, like Tales from the Loop, two choices. So Poland is the like Eastern Europe, and Poland being the original location for the setting, and then because it's a Free League's a Swedish company, they did a Sweden, just like default setting of Tales from the Loop is Sweden, but they gave you, I think it was Arizona, they gave you a Southwest location in America if you want to kind of shake it up a bit. And here's the character sheets. So nice heavy stock character sheets, and I'm sure you have a PDF of these as well, and they're already paper clipped. Nice. Yeah, so print out some more of those, but there's, yeah, let's give you four to start out with, and more maps. Yeah, I think we've got a lot of maps. Oh, these are just a single card, and a little bit different. These are a little bit heavier card stock, and the coat is a little different. It's a little shinier. So these may not be, you could probably write on these, but they don't feel as resistant as the other ones. Yeah, so another single sheet. So it looks like when you're just in wilderness. Got a lot of options. Yeah, this is nice, and I think, yeah, you might even be able to, depending on what the scenarios allow you to do, you might be able to build out from these. But yeah, you're not going to need to laminate or protect these. These are nice and durable. They're not waterproof, but they will definitely endure a lot of normal table play. Yeah. Some more single sheet card. So heavier, definitely, than the previous ones, but not the same finish. So a lot of bombed out buildings. So I put in the description, and if anyone doesn't know the setting of Twilight 2000, so it's the World War III that never existed. So in this alternate timeline, the Soviet Union did not collapse, and World War III kind of followed shortly after World War II. And so I think we're in the 90s. I think the events take place in the 90s. So yeah, decades after. So I guess the Cold War eventually became a hot war. And so there's several countries, factions that you can play as. And so the two kind of areas, or the two kind of fields of engagement are either Sweden or Poland. And here's our tokens. Yeah, these are nice. I saw the digital version of these, but these look great. And they're nice and thick. You can see that's a pretty thick piece of card. And yeah, so everything you need. And so here's the, and it's nice too, they did a nice muted color palette for the backgrounds. So those will look nice. We can just pop one out, can't we? So that's the look of what the tokens would be on the map. So very readable. You know, there's not everything's going to stand out well from green, but also be identifiable as their faction separately. So that's great. Tokens, and here we go. So we're already in the books. So we'll do a flip through of all the books, but let's just get these out first. So the referee's manual. So these are soft cover, square bound as you can see, but full color inside. And of course, yeah, some great art. Nice. So we'll go through those in just a sec. And here's the player's manual. And they're pretty thick. They're pretty substantial. So probably, yeah, this is 150 pages for the player's manual, 152. 112 for the referee's manual. So great, and the illustrations, nice thematic illustrations throughout. Oh great, so there is a tray in here. Oh, so there isn't a lot of extra space. So there's a vacuum tray in here to hold everything, including more spaces for additional cards and our custom dice. So we've got, there we go, our D10s, yeah. Nice, our D10s with all the special marks on here. So this is, whoa, there we go. And location, oh, nice. Have a look at that location. So there's, you get it in the legs, you get it in the torso, you get it in the torso. You keep getting it in the torso. The arms, and of course, where was it? It was just here, headshot. Nice. So yeah, I've seen I've seen various takes on hit location dice. This is pretty fun. It's readable though. It's nice and readable, even from a distance, because the white area is indicating everything. So here's a D12 and a D10 for a lot of your main rolls with special marks on them. And then I think your D6s might work as supply or resource dice as well, because it looks like ammo. And a D8 and D4. Yeah, we've got everything but a D4. So D6s that look like resource or hits. Yeah. So the nice. So the Year Zero engine. So they talked about this as going to be a much crunchier version of the Year Zero engine, much more in line with the original version of the game. Yeah, very nice thematic dice. And I'm sure you don't need special dice. If you just use a table to know, what 12 is going to mean, and what, what numbers are going to give you those two symbols. So you can probably just use your regular dice if you just want like a PDF version of the game. Although, just my experience with the beta version, there is a lot to print out, because as you saw, there was a lot of maps and things, so it may be worth picking up the box set. So yeah, all of these. Okay, here we'll do our quick noisy experiment. Really close to the mic, so I apologize if you're wearing headphones. So, is this a functional dice tray? Whoa, yeah. It is the noisiest thing you could possibly roll on. Nice. But yeah, as usual their custom dice are nice, and probably a little bit more required for this system, but I'm sure with some tables you could easily just use any d6s and your standard dice from any of your other games. Take a quick look at the cards. Oh, nice. Yeah, they've got the same nice linen finish that their cards usually have. So here's all of our encounters. And then initiative. And so initiative similar to Forbidden Lands, Alien, and a lot of the other games. They use a card draw for initiative. So when initiative happens, you draw a card and you keep that through the whole. And I mean, there's also, you have abilities to swap initiative order and things. But yeah, so it's a 1 through 10 on thematic initiative cards that are kind of useful for the players. So you don't have, if a player's holding these cards, then it makes it a lot easier for the referee to just go through initiative order, and also, pull out for enemies and NPCs, pull out those initiative cards. So you're not writing things down or having to, remember any orders, and then you just, reshuffle the initiative deck. So it's a nice system. I think that's why they've stuck with it through a few of their systems. It worked well in Forbidden Lands. So here are their encounters. Oh, and they look like they're marked like standard playing cards. Oh, interesting. So is that a mechanic from the original game? Oh, I don't know. It possibly could be. So yeah, so you may not need these cards either if in the book they list all of these encounters, because then you can just use a standard deck of cards and draw from them. And this way you're not flipping through the book. Hopefully you have all the information of every encounter here. So the other thing they said, they're trying to minimize that kind of randomness. So crunchier and more random than previous games using their engine, their Year Zero engine. Nice. So I won't give away too much, but they put illustrations. That's great. There's illustrations on the cards. Let's see. Is it all the suits? Yeah, diamonds, hearts. Yeah. So it's all the suits. So it does look like a standard deck of playing cards. So yeah. You don't need, I mean, they're nice and thematic and have nice illustrations and are well produced, but you don't need them. You can use a standard deck of cards. That's nice. So they'll have to deal with this mechanically in the virtual tabletop as well, because another part of the Kickstarter is, I believe it's for Foundry. They have an official release of the setting and the system for Foundry, so they'll have to have also a card draw mechanic in there, which I think is something that they've already handled pretty well, even if you're just doing it through a chat. So yeah, very similar to their other games. Nice heavy duty coated cards. Yeah, these look like they could stand getting wet, and they're not dark. They're not a really black border, so you're not going to see the frayed edges. They're really they're nicely made. So very similar to like a bicycle, or the nice deluxe playing cards that you're used to with that linen finish and everything. So enough about the cards. So we do have an insert here for holding. I guess it can also hold, because if you're putting books flat, you could put the tokens could rattle around in there. So yeah, nice. Yeah, I just I liked the idea of because the books are probably not going to be in the box all that often, and so I like the idea of something like this on the table to be pulling stuff out of. And the lid makes the noisiest dice tray. We discovered that. It's going to sound like a sniper fire or a sudden assault. Okay, so let's start taking a look at the books. Oh, actually, don't want to lose that guy. All right, so beginning with the player's manual. Let's gather everything up so we can get this centered in the camera a little bit for you. There we go. All right, and maybe we'll come down a little bit, actually. There we go. So soft cover. Oh, look at that. There's all the backers. These are the top backers, though, not the lowly backers like myself. Nice. So the game director and lead designer, Tomas Hernstam, and the lead setting and scenario, Chris Lites, and they did say that this was in cooperation with the original studio as well. So hopefully they got some good consultant. Oh yeah, Game Designers Workshop. Yeah, so Mark Miller from Game Designers Workshop was helping them. And the original, of course, the original Twilight 2000 by Frank Chadwick. So nice, and more paper clips. Graphics of paper clips. Yeah, so 2021 Games Designer Workshop. Yeah, so this I think was delayed a little bit in fulfillment, but not by much. I think they survived the worst of it as far as the pandemic and the new difficulties with shipping and everything that we're all dealing with now. Let's see if I can keep this glare away. So chapter 1, you're on your own. So kind of the introduction to the setting, campaign framework, starting the game, the tools of the game, and the ever ubiquitous, what is a role-playing game? Actually, let me just do this. There we go. I'll keep that glare. I'll keep it away from you, and I'll get all of it at my angle. Nice. And yeah, so because, and I think they always have to include that because every role-playing game could be someone's first. So you don't want to just, and I think that was a thing that in original, very early, like late 70s, early 80s roleplay, they didn't quite prepare people for what they were about to do. They're just like, here's the rules, go ahead and do it. And a lot of people are like, what exactly are we doing? I like the implication that it should just spread, word of mouth, or like village knowledge will bring you the ability to be a game master. But yeah, so just a description of like, what you're going to be doing in the game. So chapter 2 is the player character. So nationalities, branch, attributes. So all the character building, that's like character creation, hit and stress, skills. So yeah, we have stress dice as well. And that might be what the D6s function as well. So rolling, when traumatic things happen or people are killed, you're taking stress, maybe similar to Alien, what they did with Alien, except you're not just going to be screaming and freaking out. It'll be much more a trained soldier's reaction. So skills, specialties, coolness under fire, unit morale, the moral code, the big dream, your buddy, how you met, appearance, name, gear, vehicle, encumbrance, and radiation. So there will be a lot more, kind of fine mechanics of the game. So something like encumbrance, we haven't seen so much in other games, but it is important, when you're a soldier, and how much you're going to be hauling around is not going to be something to take lightly, because you're crawling hexes and you're going to be running out of ammo, you're going to be running out of food and water, and it's things you're going to need to keep track of. The archetype method, the life path method. So a couple of different methods for character generation, developing your character. So learn from experience, gain coolness under fire, change unit morale, define your moral code, seek a new dream, and find another buddy. So I guess that's implying your buddy was killed. So yeah, similar to other games, you're going to have some connection to other soldiers. So that's a nice mechanic for role play, and also I'm sure affects your stress and skills and specialties. So roll the dice, pushing your rolls. So again, that's a very standard year 0 mechanic, is pushing the roll, but then suffering some consequences depending on what's rolled. You get to, everything that's a failure hurts you then, whereas you just fail on your first roll. If you push the roll, then you take damage, your equipment takes damage, there's some complications. Group rolls, modifiers, opposed dice rolls, NPCs and skills, and gear. So I imagine if you have familiarity with the year 0 system, it's not going to take that much to catch up to, the kind of changes and things that they've made. And if you've played the original Twilight 2000, you'll probably know what to expect, like the things that they want you to keep track of. The skills: close combat, heavy weapons, stamina, driving, mobility, ranged combat, recon, survival, tech, command, medical, and persuasion. All right, and then specialties. Chapter 4 gives us combat and damage. So the battle maps, rounds and initiative, slow and fast actions, terrain and hexes, foot movement, cover, barriers, visibility and line of sight, ambush, social conflict, close combat, ranged combat, suppression, explosions, heavy weapons, damage, critical injuries, stress, conditions, falling, drowning, fire, chemical warfare, radiation, disease, and vehicle combat. Chapter 5 gives us our weapons, vehicles, and gear. So trade, gear, damage and repair, scavenging for parts, jury rigging. Nice, because you got to keep things running. And basically, I think a lot of the scenarios are you're an isolated group, and you just have to, wherever you're stationed, wherever you're positioned, you just have to deal with what's coming at you and hold your position, follow your orders. But things have gone on long enough that you're not well supplied, and you don't have equipment in great condition, so you're trying to keep things running as this war drags on. So the weapons, melee, bows and thrown, civilian firearms, U.S. military weapons, Soviet military weapons, Swedish military, Polish military, other military, and then hand grenades and artillery. Yeah, the thing that excited me about this, especially when I was looking through the book, the weapons and vehicles that are available, is in Japan, Tamiya makes a lot of modern models, like different scales of models that might be fun also, just to have for flavor or, positioning and things to have on the table during the game. So I got really excited about that, about painting some military plastic kits, of course. All right, and vehicles. So the same U.S., Soviet, Swedish, Polish, and other vehicles. The gear, weapons, gear, communication, observation, protective, medical, tools and spare parts, fuel and stills, electricity, explosives, food and drink, and field gear. And then the last is the home base. Home base at the bottom here. Chapter 6 is travel. So travel maps, tasks and shifts of the day, marching, driving, keeping watch, scrounging, foraging, hunting. Yeah, so a lot more survivalist in, as fitting the original setting. Hunting, fishing, foraging, making camp, cooking, resting, sleeping, exploring, city travel, and water travel. Nice. Yeah, look at the art is great. They did a nice job with the illustrations. As always, I think it's a lot of the painted. I think it's Martin Grip that does a lot of their painted stuff. And then there's other illustrations like this that look like ink and wash that look really nice. So you're on your own now. So Kalitz, you're still only in Kalitz. We need to get out of here fast. The artillery barrages are getting closer. The Soviets will be here soon. Sarge says we move out after dark. I'm not sure we'll last that long. Nice. So here's your little thematic text. Nice, yeah, so like a little piece of fiction there to give you some flavor. So Twilight 2000 is a role-playing game about survival in mankind's most desperate hour, the year 2000 of history that took a different turn from your own. The world is ravaged by war. Yet in this very bleak world, there is still hope. Mere survival is not enough. In the midst of utter destruction, you can start to build something new. Rally more people to your ranks, stake a claim, and protect it. Maybe if you live long enough, start turning the tide. Nice. So the players, play a player character. It might be a soldier from the now scattered U.S. forces in Europe, but it may also be a soldier of another nationality or even a civilian. And then the referee. So yeah, they emphasize the conversation between players. So what do? Stay alive, help those in need, search for information, find safe haven, stake a claim, find a home, reset the world. So a little bit on the game setting. Twilight 2000 depicts the world engulfed by war. No corner of the world went untouched by the devastating wars that raged through the years leading up to the year 2000. Therefore, it is possible to set the game in any country you prefer, even your homeland. However, the focus of the war, and therefore focus of the game, is Central and Northern Europe. This is where the fighting between NATO and the Soviet forces was the most intense. And then they talk about the two settings, both Poland and Sweden, and other settings. And this is something that they even did in Tales from the Loop, is said, yeah, you want to set this in your hometown, you want to set this anywhere, just there's a loop. And kind of build it from there. So the campaign framework. So it's not a game about the military, it's a game about survivors, still scattered on the scarred battlefields of Europe. So civilians, law enforcement, prisoners, and a mixed group. So starting the game, the default way to start a campaign of Twilight 2000 is just begin as the U.S. military advance towards Warsaw or Stockholm. Operation Reset has been crushed by Soviet forces. Your group of soldiers, U.S. soldiers, local soldiers, or civilians, or a mix of the three, is running for their lives, forced to fend for themselves in a hostile territory. Choose where on the travel map to start, close to Kalisz if you're playing Poland, or Erebro if playing in Sweden. Those are good choices, as they are areas where the final battles occurred. From there, you're on your own. Decide where to go, and the referee placing goals and obstacles in your path. So yeah, you'll need character sheets, dice, cards, maps, and counters. Oh yeah, let's go over the, does it specify? Yeah, it'll specify the dice as well. So rolling dice in situations. So you'll need a set of polyhedral dice. You need a D6, a D8, a D10, and 12-sided dice. And a bunch of extra D6s for their ammo. Yeah, those are the ammo dice. So they have full sets of custom dice. Cards. So playing cards can be used for two purposes. Drawing initiative in combat and used by the referee for drawing encounters. Right, so there probably will be a table to use standard cards for the referee. And of course they give you the custom cards in this set. So maps and counters. Hexagon maps are used for playing Twilight 2000. There are two main types. Travel maps with a 10-kilometer hex that are used to regulate travel, and battle maps where the bullets start to fly. Yeah, so we saw the two versions of those. A large travel map depicting Poland and Sweden is included in this box set, as well as 8 double-sided battle maps that can be combined in different ways to quickly create unique battlefields, and 2 larger double-sided battle maps that depict specific scenario sites. So you can use, although the battle maps, with the battle maps, you use the cardboard tokens to keep track of fighters and vehicles, etc. A collection of such tokens is found in the box set. Yes, you'll just need something to mark who you are, and you can actually, just cut out of cardstock and just with letters and numbers represent things as long as they're very visible on a hex map. And what is a role-playing game? So here we go into the player characters. Right, so yeah, very standard kind of year 0. So you've got your 4 attributes, and those 4 attributes will then be connected to skills, like your level of skill. So we've seen this a few different ways. So the attributes are strength, agility, intelligence, and empathy. But you also have your nationality, your branch, and your military rank. Nice. Oh, let's take a look. Yeah, so life paths. So here's the 2 systems they were talking about kind of against each other. So archetypes versus life paths. So for 2 different methods for creating a character, the archetype and the life path. So Architect lets you create a fully playable character in 3 minutes. Ready to jump into action, it creates a fairly balanced group of characters with similar overall competency. The life path is a method that lets you build your character by developing their backstory in detail, learning skills and specialties as you go along. This will create a more fleshed out character, but also with more varied levels of competency. Nice. So yeah, it's kind of up to you how quickly you want to get into play and how deeply you want to develop the backstory for your character, seeing how deadly the game may be. So hit and stress. So stress is a capacity equal to the sum of the die size for your intelligence and empathy. Is that empathy? Yeah, empathy. Divided by 4, rounded up. And your hit capacity is your strength and agility divided by 4. So skills, yeah, similar to how they've done it in other systems. Things you can perform. So you're probably rolling your attribute plus your skill for successes. Let's see, does it say what die you're rolling? Oh yeah, so there we go. So that's why you've got all the different die sizes, is because your skill level is going to determine which die you roll. So A through F, and that would be elite through untrained. So you're rolling, you're not rolling anything if you're untrained, but if you're a novice, you're rolling a D6. Okay, so that's a little bit different. And so, yeah, these are the successes that we're trying to get, and the complication. So the one looks like a failure. So yeah, depending on how competent you are, is what die size you're rolling. Interesting. Specialties, coolness under fire. So when bullets start to fly in your direction, you need to keep a cool head. Panicking can cost you your life. So coolness under fire is a rating. It has a rating from A to D as well. Unit morale uses the highest command skill. Moral code. The world might have gone to hell, but you're still human with values. If you choose to follow your moral code, you get a +1 to a related skill. If you choose to betray your moral code, you will immediately suffer 1 point of stress. Your big dream, your immediate goal to live another day. But in the long run, merely surviving is not enough. So you'll gain extra XP if you concentrate on actions to realize your big dream. Your buddy, you must choose one of the other PCs that you feel closest to. That is your buddy. Mark that in the character sheet. If you risk your life, you get a +1 modifier for your buddy. Oh, here's examples. Sorry, examples of the big dream. You are set here to win the war. You intend to do just that at any cost. Find a place to settle down with your friends. Find your parents. And then examples of your moral codes. You have a moral obligation to help those worse off than you. War is a glorious thing, but you are meant to command. Freedom is everything. No one tells you what to do, ever. How you met. Appearance, name, and gear. There we go. So in addition to your group gear, you have... Oh, nice. You have a vehicle, so you can roll 2d6 on the table below and choose an appropriate vehicle. Nice. Yeah, roll high. A main battle tank. All right. Oh, so the value of ammo. Yeah, they're talking. So here's your basic group gear. Yeah, it looks like they're doing the kind of resource dice thing that they were doing in Forbidden Lands. The D6 personal medkits, D6 rations of food. So you roll every time something is used, you roll, and if you don't fail, then it doesn't decrease. So the only thing about it is it can be a little unpredictable, where suddenly you're out of ammo, suddenly you're out of food. Kind of like rolling a weapons jam on dice. Suddenly your weapon is useless. The value of ammo. In the world of Twilight 2000, the world economy has collapsed and paper money has little value. Instead, most businesses conduct business through bartering. Ammunition has become the most common base currency. Oh, so you're using your bullets to buy things. So encumbrance. Yeah, so that's interesting. So they're using a looser kind of resource system, D6 system for balancing your for rolling for. And I think you can, like, the more you have, I think you can actually scale up your scale up the amount of things. And maybe this is just random generation. Am I jumping to conclusions here? Maybe this is just random generation of how much you start out with. So encumbrance, the weight of bulkiness is measured in encumbrance. Oh yeah, so they're typically going to, you're going to have to weigh out all your gear, combat gear, backpack. If you have a backpack, you can use it to carry additional items of number of encumbrance units equal to your strength die. Tiny items. So loose ammunition for every 25 rounds, half a unit. So they're just using units, which is just like a basic number. So it's not going to, it's roughly they're saying it's roughly 3 kilograms that could be carried in one hand. So a little bit more abstracted to help just make them simplify the math. Interesting. So maybe it isn't the supply resource dice. That's just the... Yeah, because if you're doing encumbrance, that wouldn't make any sense if you have a random amount of... Yeah, so I think we're going to be counting things a lot more. That's a lot more in keeping with the original system. So here's the archetypes. So you're just basically, rolling on tables, I think, to create things. So yeah, choose your archetype, your nationality. Here's an example of the character sheet filled out. Nice. Yeah, so it's readable. And yeah, so there you have the rating, the letter rating, and then what die you roll. And I think eventually you'll have that memorized, that A is a D12. You'll automatically be able to. And then, yeah, your moral code and your big dream, everything written out, who your buddy is. So here are kind of our character classes. What do they call them? Oh, nice. The rank in your role. So a civilian, a grunt. Oh, and it also, yeah, lets you specialize. So they said that, yeah, the kind of the fine specialization. So a chemist, a cook, or a hunter for civilian, and then examples of your moral code or your big dream. And then the equipment you start with, the grunt, load carrier, ranger, rifleman. You have a buzz cut and a Zippo with your motto on it. Yeah, so these feel very similar to Tales from the Loop, how they set up the different classes. The gunner, launcher crew, machine gunner, red leg. The kid, oh, another kid, a kid in war. This is something I think Chris didn't like about Alien. It's including a kid. You have to have your Newt character that's traumatized. So the kid can be an archer, a runner, or a scrounger. But yeah, there are always kids, drug into war and kids surviving. They're always exploited. There we go. Mechanic, combat engineer, gunsmith, or mechanic. A medic can be a combat medic, a field surgeon, or a general practitioner. An officer, intelligence, sidearms, or tactician. The operator, combat awareness, infiltrator, and sniper. And the spook. So your CIA, intelligence, killer, or psyop. In black clothes, a forgettable face, and a short conservative haircut. So here's the life path method. So yeah, you're kind of going through the career of the military career or just the life career of the person. So start with somebody 18, and then you'll keep adding things. You get a C in all attributes, and then you increase things as through what they experience. So it takes longer to make, but it's going to be a more kind of nuanced, intricate character, whereas I think the archetype just relies on, so I guess these are the archetypes, right? So it just relies on choosing, so more Tales from the Loop style. You're just a type. And the life path will give you a deeper, kind of connection to the who the character is and what they went through. And it might help you with role play a little bit more. You won't rely on cliche and just things you remember from movies. If you've actually gone through a life path, you won't lean too heavily into kind of movie stereotypes and things. So here's for your childhood, your military career path, and then what each of the different nationalities soldiers are going to give you. So that's good. Some nice background. So police, crime, intelligence, blue collar. So similar, yeah. So you're going to end up with a much more nuanced civilian or grunt or whatever, and it will just take longer to kind of develop them through. And they give a nice example of all the different life events and how they affected the character's stats and skills and things. Develop your character. So learn from experience. This is something I was curious about. So the things you learn during the game are measured in XP. You receive XP at the end of each session. Talk it through and let the whole group discuss what happened. For each of the questions below you reply yes to, you get 1 XP. Did you participate in the game session? Did you follow your moral code? Did you risk or sacrifice for your big dream? Did you travel at least 1 hex? Did you overcome 1 or more dangerous events? And did you risk your life for the PC who is your buddy? And then increase your level. Yeah, so then skill levels can go up. Spending your XP to increase a skill level. Yeah, so each of your skills can be raised a rank. And how much XP? Costs 5 XP. All right. And specialties. Learning a specialty always costs 10 XP, but also requires a teacher. Oh, so you can gain, abilities. You can learn how to cook or something. Gain coolness under fire. After each session in which you made a coolness under fire roll and succeeded, you have a chance to increase it. Roll the base die for your coolness under fire rating. If the result is 1, increase it 1 step. Oh, that's cool. You learn to be more cool. So change unit morale, redefine your moral code, seek a new dream, find another buddy. Yeah, so between sessions you can actually move this stuff around. And maybe that happens sometimes. So when you're creating the character, especially if you're just using an archetype, and you find out that that stuff really doesn't come up, you're not going to be interacting with anything that you chose. Or maybe the player that you chose is very competent and you're not ever going to have to sacrifice yourself to help them. Yeah, you may want to change your buddy or change your dream, just so in the game you're interacting a little bit more with these mechanics, so that your character is improving, you're actually gaining XP. All right, the skills and specialties. Yeah, that's definitely Martin Grip art. That's beautiful. Yeah, I can't wait to see the One Ring work that he did, just the stuff that they've teased. That's coming soon too. So another Free League unboxing coming soon. But they, yeah, I really liked the stuff that I've seen so far that he did for the One Ring. And this is just excellent and nice. Yeah, nice and thematic, and just ruined buildings and all of that. Ruined buildings. There's words that I have trouble with. Avoiding learning to use a rifle is a cardinal sin back home. Nice. So a little flavor text. So yeah, these are the basic mechanics of the game, and I think we have a pretty good idea. Your ranks are giving you what die you're rolling, and then you're going to add a skill and an attribute. So yeah, just similar to the very common year 0 is your skills are connected to one of the 4 excuse me, one of the 4 attributes. When you perform an action, first you describe what your character says or does, then you grab 2 dice. One for your skill level and another for the base attribute. So what if they're both... Oh, do I have... Oh, yeah, I've got 2 of each. Okay, I was going to say, what if I don't have 2 of each? But they're the same color, though. I guess it doesn't matter. No, I guess it doesn't matter. You're totaling. You're just looking for a total of successes. So they don't need to be different colors. They did need to be different colors in Forbidden Lands because you were rolling skill attribute and also gear dice, and then it mattered where your fails, where your ones came from, because those either did damage to your health, your abilities, or your gear. So it'll be different this way. Oh, and I've already failed. All right. Yeah. So a little bit of a modification to that. So yeah, you're gonna have to probably get these in your head pretty quick. The D12, D10, D8, D6 deal. I'm glad there's no D4s. I do not like rolling D4s. I don't think they roll. I'm pretty convinced they don't roll. So, yeah, and so here's the core skills, and very similar to the previous games. So close combat, heavy weapons, stamina are all strength. Driving, range combat, mobility are all agility. Recon, survival, tech are all intelligence. And command, medical, and persuasion are all empathy. So that's what you're going to be adding. The art of failure. So the successes are these symbols on the dice. There we go. The little crosshairs. And multiple successes. So a roll of 10 or higher on a D10 or a D12, of course, gives you 2 successes. So yeah, your rank you're not able to generate multiple successes if your rank is, what about the D8? Yeah, nope. So D6 or D8, you're not going to ever roll high enough for multiple successes. They'll have to be one per die. So yeah, it's definitely worth to rank up your skills. Nice. So if you're both skilled and lucky with a bonus success beyond the first, you achieve additional effects, if explicitly stated in the rules. Nice. If there are no successes, something goes wrong. For some reason, you have failed. Failure must not stop you, and stop the story completely. Even if you fail, there's a way forward. You have one less chance. If you need success, you can push your roll. So yeah, similar to previous versions of the system, your initial skill roll reflects a safe and controlled action. If you fail your initial roll, you'll want additional successes. You can lean into the action, giving it everything you've got, pushing yourself and your gear to the limit. This is called pushing the roll, and it lets you re-roll all dice. But any of the explosion or the failure marks, you must re-roll all dice not showing a success or a failure. You cannot change back to the previous results. So once you push the roll, you're stuck with that result. And so there is a risk. So each time you push a roll, immediately suffer 1 point of damage if you rolled strength or agility, or 1 point of stress if you rolled intelligence or empathy. For each failure, the explosion mark, you rolled on your base dice. If this damage incapacitates you, this happens after the action is resolved. So using gear, if you used a tool such as a weapon or vehicle with a skill roll of strength or agility, any damage will affect the item instead of yourself. An ammo dice. If you pushed your roll, you must re-roll any ammo dice that don't show a failure or a bullet, a shell. On the ammo dice, it will damage your firearm and decrease its reliability rating. Interesting. Passive rolls. You can only push skill rolls when you are actively perform an action. When passive or unaware, for example, when rolling recon to see if you spot a sneaking enemy, or when you cannot push your roll. And push only once. You can only push it once. Succeed on the second try, you are stuck dealing with the consequences. So don't roll too often. Yeah, that's a good that's a good thing. When you're hurting yourself and your gear, you don't want to roll unnecessarily. And describe your action. Yeah, I think that's a good just role playing in general. Role playing skill is talk about what you want to do, not just like look on your sheet. I'm gonna roll intelligence in this skill because that's what looks like it'll succeed. Describe what you're doing, because then sometimes the referee will maybe want to change. Well, maybe that's not that skill, or yeah, or it's passive. It's not active what you're doing. All right. So pushing means so how pushed rolls play out in story depends on the skill you're using. So it can take any form, from great physical exertion, mental focus, or emotional strain. And group rolls. So some challenges you don't roll separately. So someone rolls for the group. Yeah, so you're not allowed to try one at a time. This rule does not apply to combat, of course. Yeah, so whoever's best suited to take on the challenge. Ah, that's good. Not everybody trying to notice something. Modifiers. Some external factors. So yeah, you can push up or down dice as modifiers. Nice. So +1 modifier means you upgrade your base die 1 step. -1 degrades 1 step. Yeah, so you're not just minusing 1 to a result, you're actually minusing 1 to the die size. All right, so chance of successes. Oh, I love when they do this. So they always do this. I've seen this at the year 0. So it shows you how many d6s you're rolling. This is, kind of your chances of success. So the initial roll and then the pushed roll, what you're going to be expecting. So that can help you kind of plan if it's worth making the roll, if it's worth trying. Because if it's really critical and you've only got a 31% chance, then that may change your approach. So difficulty, specialties, help from others, opposed rolls. So sometimes rolling 1 success isn't enough to succeed in your rolls. You have to beat your foe in an opposed roll. So you just need more than your adversary. PCs and skills, damage to gear. So they have a reliability rating. So damage pushes and pushed rolls will reduce the reliability rating. And once it reaches 0, the item is broken or can no longer be used. Broken items can be repaired with a tech skill and spare parts. Wow, it's going to get very survival-y in here. I'm feeling it. So the skills, so these are just descriptions of how each of the skills function. And then the specialties. So close combat specialties. All right, so so specialties coming from close combat would be a brawler, melee, killer, martial artist. Heavy weapon specialties, machine gunner, launcher, crew, red leg, and vehicle gunner. Stamina builder, load carrier, NBC, ranger, and seer training. Driving specialties, biker, boatman, pilot, racer, tanker. Mobility is diver, mountaineer, paratrooper, pitcher, rider, runner. Ranged is archer, reloader, rifleman, sidearm, sniper. Yeah, and I think under the archetypes we saw. Yeah, we saw where the specialties come through. Yeah, these are all things we saw named in the archetype. Yeah, so I'm not sure what life path seems to be a bit more satisfying as far as making a character, because it works fine if you're basically playing a TV show. You don't mind playing a TV show and you want to be a type. But I guess it's something the group should decide, because you can be kind of playing yourself in the situation if you do a life path, or someone equivalently real in their responses. But I think with the archetypes, you are going to be like, oh, he wouldn't do that because of the kind of guy he is. You're thinking too much about the character types or the stereotype. So the recon abilities, survival, so there's blacksmith, chemist, computers. Yeah, there's a lot of variations. So some seem to have, I guess they all have about the same, just the descriptions get a little bit longer. Persuasion, linguist, musician. So give yourself a bonus to persuasion rolls in which you're singing or playing an instrument. Referee has the final say. Oh, nice. Look at that. All right, so combat. So the battle maps, combat tokens, rounds, and initiative. So drawing one of the cards, surprise. If you initiate combat with an attacker that the referee says is fully surprised, you automatically get number 1 in the initiative round. Exchanging initiative. So during a fight, so this isn't even a skill, it's just a thing that's built in. You can exchange initiative cards. And I think that's kind of group planning, because you would kind of like, you go over there and you do this and you do this. So that would change initiative order. So nice. Oh, hidden initiative. If you use an alternative rule for hidden initiative, the other characters are not allowed to say what initiative number they have before you make the switch. Oh, interesting. So I guess that's a thing about that's good about the card is you could actually play hidden, so everyone just gets dealt face down initiative cards, and then it just kind of goes through the order, and you're like, okay, anybody 4, any 4s, and 5, any 5, who's 5, 5, 5. So, and then so that makes it very hard. And maybe a little more realistic, because communication may not be great. You may not be able to communicate with each other well. So so I want you to go first, but we'll see how that works out. Nice. And so your turn, I was talking about rounds and turns, and slow and fast actions. And then there's free actions as well. So dropping to the ground, shouting a few words are called free actions. And otherwise, everything is slow or fast. And mark your actions. Oh, yeah, this was something interesting with the, I remember the cards for Forbidden Lands. You kind of tapped the cards. Oh, do they still have that? Oh, they do. Yeah, same thing on the initiative cards. I guess this has become standard. Sorry. If you cannot see, if you cannot see that. So the border of the initiative cards, you can see written so that they're oriented. So fast action used, both actions used, slow action used. So if you're taking an action but possibly holding something, holding an action, or I think if you've not used certain actions, you can have different responses. So if you use both your actions, then you can't fight back, or you don't have certain options when it's someone else's turn and they're attacking you. So the orientation of the card can just help you remember what you've used. So you turn it this way and you've used your slow action. You turn it this way, oh, I used both actions if it's upside down. And if you turn it this way, then you've only used your fast action. So you still have a slow action to use to, dodge or, fight back. So yeah, that's the same system that they used. That's nice. I mean, it gives, so this isn't just a number. It's not just, it has a little bit more function. I like that they did that. I first saw that in Forbidden Lands. I think that's a good way to go. All right. So there we go. And so here's the list of slow actions. Get an item from a backpack. Persuade, unarmed attack, melee attack, grapple, break free, shoot firearm, clear jam, sniper aim, shoot bow, throw weapon, aim or fire a mortar or howitzer. I wonder what the encumbrance on a howitzer is. Fire, heavy weapon, direct, indirect fire, first aid, rally, enter, exit vehicle. And then fast actions are drop backpack, seek cover, go from full to partial cover, run, cross barrier, move through, door, crawl up, get down, shove, disarm, grapple attack, retreat, aim, prepare bow, assume overwatch position, reload, pull grenade pin, get on your back, grab the wheel, start the engine, drive, use item. And your free actions, like they said, drop to the ground, drop a held item, go to from partial to full cover, or shout a few words. And then the terrain hexes. Oh, good. They give you the stats and what it means to be in all of these different terrains. So they standardize that on their maps. And I hope they keep releasing. I hope there's good support for this, so they can keep releasing things, or at least give a kit that if people want to develop scenarios and things, or present different locations, that they can generate, at least PDF versions of the map, and it'll correspond. All right, so ranged attacks, movement, cover, infiltration, elevation, and blocking. So each hex has some different stats to consider. Foot movement. So to move, okay, so in a single fast action, you can run 2 hexes on the battle map. Without rolling dice, to move further, you have to make a mobility roll, and you need, for each success you roll, you can move an additional hex. If you fail the roll, you move no further. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we can see how things look. Yeah, I like the color scheme is great. I mean, that's so visible. Just dropping that blue counter on the hex map, I could see that very easily. So I think that will work well. And then so the descriptions of different movements, crawling. Your backpack gives you a -2 modifier to mobility. Oh. Elevation, swamps, cover. And so they tell you which hexes provide which cover. No hexes. If you're playing without a map or on a map without hexes, the referee has the final word on whether you have cover, if it's ineffective or not. Nice. Yeah, I guess you could do 1 inch. Well, let me see. You could do 2-inch hexes. And if you wanted to redraw maps, you do 2-inch hexes with minis. That would be fun. Yeah, I've got a lot of thinking to do. But I think, for convenience and things, especially if I'm playing virtually, I think these assets will work well. So barriers, visibility and line of sight, light sources. Oh, nice. Oh, that would be, something that would be an advantage on virtual tabletop. So you've got all these assets, but you can control things like searchlights and flares, and how you have lighting engines or lighting renderers in a lot of those maps. So that'll show you how many hexes a flare lights up, how many hexes a searchlight covers, and the searchlight can move. Yeah, that'd be nice on the virtual tabletop. Yeah, things like smoke, line of sight, ambush, social conflict. So sometimes, ambush, you can opposed recon against your target gives you ambush, and the effect gives you +3. Wow. In close or ranged combat. Wow, 3. So sometimes you can't even move up that far. 3. Yeah, I guess that puts you from a D6 to a D12, right? 8, 10, 12. Yeah, yeah. Wow. So if you have terrible skill, you go right from 6 to 12. Yeah, plus 3. Wow. All right. Yeah. Okay. Social conflict. So yeah, the persuasion skills. So yeah, so non-violent resolution of things. Social conflict. So just intimidating or convincing someone or negotiating. Oh, that's right. This I've seen this. I think I remember this from Star Trek. There was a lot of heavy emphasis in Star Trek. Deadly combat last. Although I don't think we ever played it that way. But yeah, so negotiating and then kind of what adds things, adds to your score or adds to your roll or takes away from your roll, kind of the situation, like number of people and proximity and things. So persuading a group, being persuaded, and interrogation. Nice. Interrogation. So close combat, stance, aim, blows, and blocking. So you get a +2 modifier in close combat against a prone target. Aimed blows, blocking, diving blows, shoving, disarming, grappling, retreat. If an active enemy is in the same hex as you and there is no barrier between you, you must make a mobility roll to move out of the hex. If you fail, you still move, but your enemy gets an immediate free close combat attack against you. And you cannot block it. Ranged attacks, damage, aiming, ranged, stance and cover, ranged fire modifiers. Nice. Yeah, I can see all of this stuff in the referee's screen right now. Called shots, moving targets, target size, elevation, terrain, machine guns. Oh, friendly fire. This stuff catches my attention. You can fire at a target even if the line crosses a hex where one of your friendly fighters is located, but these friendlies must immediately roll a coolness under fire to avoid being suppressed. Also, if your shot misses, roll 2d6. Any successes mean a random friendly hit instead. Oof. Overwatch. Ammunition. Oh, here, let's double check. Ammunition dice. So firearms give you ammo dice to add to your skill roll. Oh, cool. 6 of the 10 dice. Yeah, so we saw these guys. So here's your ammo dice as opposed to your skill dice. So here's the d6 skill or attribute die, and then here's your ammo dice. And so your weapon that you're using lets you roll these, but I guess that might not be good if you're pushing a roll. So cool. This is similar to the gear dice, and they're a different color. That helps. So 6 of the dice included in the box set. You can add as many dice as you like, as many ammo dice as you like, from 0 to the rate of fire of your weapon. Wow. Or the number of rounds left in your magazine, whichever is lower. If you use no ammo dice at all, only 1 round of ammunition is used in the attack. This is typically only the case for sniper shots, but can also be useful if you are very low on ammo in bad condition. Rolling a 6 on an ammo die is a success, just like the base die, but successes on ammo dice do not contribute to hitting your target. Instead, successes on ammo dice have different specific effects outlined below. The 6 side of the engraved ammo die is marked with the shell symbol, the bullet instead of that, and indicates a different effect. If your attack hits, checking only the base dice, each of the bullets on your ammo dice can be used for either increased damage or to trigger additional hit effects on the same target, or additional hits on the same target. Or a secondary target. Oh, so you can kind of split. Yeah, because I guess if you have rapid fire, you've got a lot of rounds. Throwing a lot of rounds out there. Oh, interesting. So you cannot choose a secondary target that would be harder to hit. Additional hit inflicts base damage. If your attack misses, rolling 1 or more of the bullets on the ammo dice, yeah, those are on the 6s, means that the target can still be suppressed. Pushing and reliability. So if on your roll, you must also reroll ammo dice not showing success or failure. ammo dice that have that symbol, just like the base dice. When pushing that, then it hurts the reliability rating. Weapons jam, ammo spent. Okay, so after you roll, you sum up the d6 digits on all of your ammo dice. This is the sum total amount of ammunition you have spent on the attack. You always spend at least one round, even if no ammo dice were used. Wow, so if the sum of your ammo dice is equal to or more than the number of rounds you have left in the magazine, your magazine is empty. Interesting. So you're counting bullets, but you're not under control of how many rounds you're firing. I mean, you kind of like, there's a random nature to that. I like that. That's interesting. So forget about what I was saying about resource dice. That's obviously not the case. So you are keeping track of things and using these numbers. Wow. So if I rolled 3 dice and this was, this is my attack, no successes, but I would have to remove 11 rounds from my magazine. Wow. Reloading. Once a magazine is depleted, you need to reload. Roll for a ranged combat. If you succeed, reloading is a fast action. If you fail, it's a slow action. The roll itself is not an action. Tracking ammo. Yes, you must always keep careful track of how much ammo you have in your magazine or belt, or how many magazines or ammo you carry. Mark down the ammo spent in the current magazine belt using tally marks or digits on your character sheet. When you reload, erase, and start over. Wow, that's cool. So how many magazines or ammo belts you have in your inventory? The magazine weighs 1/4 of the encumbrance unit. Well, the ammo is 1 full unit. The ammo belt is 1 full unit. When you reload, erase from your inventory. It's a good way to improve encumbrance. Just start firing. So heavy weapons, bows and thrown. So suppression. If you hit an enemy, if you're hit by enemy fire, even if the damage is fully deflected by cover or armor, or if one or more ammo dice in the attack failed against you, or shows a bullet a success, you must immediately make a coolness under fire. So roll 1 base die of your current rating for line of sight and none, and to any non-incapacitated friendly fires. Oh, also roll a base dice for the current unit morale. Oh, that's cool. So you get support from others. So if your cool under fire roll fails, you are suppressed. This means you immediately drop prone, suffer 1 point of stress, and lose both actions on your next turn. To indicate you are suppressed, place a suppressed marker on the token on the battle map. Panic spreads. If you fail your cool under fire roll and get suppressed, all friendly fighters in the same hex must immediately do the same to avoid suppression also. Wow, okay. And vehicles cannot be suppressed. Well, that's good. No suppressed vehicles. I would hate a suppressed tank. Explosions. Nice. A blast damage. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so explosions have a have a range. Yeah, so the blast power. Landmines. Oh, all kinds of fun. IEDs. Anti-tank mines. Nice. So they're kind of showing you, yeah, the spread on these different weapons through hexes on hex maps. Heavy weapons, heavy weapon fire. Deviation. In an attack with where an explosive effect fails, no matter if it is aimed at a hex or a specific target, roll 2d6 to see where it lands. The different types of ammo. Most heavy weapons can be loaded with different types of ammo with different effects. High explosive rounds, heat, high explosive anti-tank rounds, AP, armor piercing, white phosphorus, WP rounds burn with an intense heat, inflict fire damage, chem rounds, and illumination rounds remove all effects of darkness. Oh, that's cool. Indirect fire, anti-tank guided missile juice damage. So suffering damage. So you can suffer damage in many ways. There are 2 of the most common. So by pushing a skill roll, using strength or agility, you can suffer points of damage for every failure. from attacks. Whenever you're attacked by someone, you are inflicted damage equal to the base damage of that weapon plus any additional successes they roll over the required. And then here's the hit location die. So when a human target is hit by a ranged attack in close combat or by an explosion, you roll this special hit location die included in the box. So you better buy the box. And a number of normal d6s will work in here. Yeah, they'll give, here's the spread of hit location. So yeah, most of it is center mass. Armor and cover. Armor modifiers, penetration, armor ablation. Incapacitated by damage. So when you have suffered damage equal to or in excess of your hit capacity, you are incapacitated. You're knocked senseless and collapse in exhaustion. You can only crawl or mumble through the pain. You cannot perform any actions and you cannot roll for any skills. A killing blow. So persons who are incapacitated by damage are defenseless. And if a human being wants to kill you outright, they must fail an empathy roll. Well, that was an alien as well. If the roll succeeds, you simply cannot force yourself to commit the deed. If the roll fails, you do kill the victim, suffer 1 point of stress. Killing cold blood is not easy. But if you have the killer specialty, you can kill defenseless people and feel no negative effects. Recovery. The fastest way to recover from being incapacitated by damage is for someone else in the same hex to treat you successfully with medical aid. It's a slow action, but you will immediately heal the number of points equal to the successes rolled. If the medical roll has no effect, the same person can try again unless more advanced medical gear is cannot try again unless more advanced medical gear is applied the next time. Or until the next time you are incapacitated by damage. Wow, so only one shot added. Interesting. So if no one helps you within a shift, you recover anyway and heal 1 point of damage. Further recovery. Once back on your feet, you will heal 1 point of damage for each full shift spent resting and sleeping. And infected wounds. If you suffer 1 point of damage or more from an external attack, you risk infection unless you are treated with medical aid. Also, if you just naturally heal, there is a chance that you can. So antibiotics will give you a +3 modifier. So within a shift, taking damage, you must roll for infection if you weren't medically treated. Whoa. Wow, that's great. That adds some nastiness. So critical injuries. So normal damage represents fatigue, bruises, and flesh wounds. Painful but not fatal. Critical injuries represent much more dangerous forms of injuries. So critical injury table, arms and legs, severe injuries, and death. So if you suffer a critical injury listed as lethal, you must make a death save before the time limit has passed 1 round, stretch, or shift. If the time limit is a round, you make the roll on your next turn. The death save is not an action in itself. You use stamina. Right, wow. So yeah, normal damage. When attacking an enemy, if the damage you inflict is equal to or higher than the crit threshold of that weapon, after mitigation by armor and cover, you inflict a critical injury. The same goes, of course, if the enemy attacks you. Yeah, and then you roll in the critical injury table using a d10. And according to the hit location, oof. Can be nasty. Yeah, here's the hit locations. So on your head, your ear is slashed or your brains are blown out. Your torso, you snapped a collarbone or your heart was impaled. I'm doing the 1 to 10. Legs, crushed toes or severed leg. Arms, dislocated shoulder, severed arm. Mental, nervous tremble or catatonic. So stressful experiences such as getting shot or harrowing scenes can temporarily put you out of action. So you can suffer stress in several ways. The 2 most common are pushing a roll or stressful situations. Incapacitated. If you have suffered stress equal to or in excess of your stress capacity, then you're incapacitated. Yeah, so we've seen that. Yeah, both of those before. So mental or physical. You can be taken out mentally or physically. And then how to heal mental trauma and different conditions. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's all the starving, dehydration, and those effects. Falling, drowning fire, nerve agents, chemical warfare. Oh, this is going to get nasty. Nice. Spotting contamination, radiation. So yeah, measure rads and disease and vehicular combat. So disease and vehicle combat. Oh, nice. Yeah, so I guess everything is taking up a hex. So driving, facing. Yeah, so that makes sense. Yeah, there's facing for vehicles, smoke launches, attacks on vehicles. Component damage. Oh yeah, so yeah, there's the facings. You can see front, side, and rear attacks. Component damage. Oh, so you roll a d10, like I guess the critical hit of a vehicle, and it tells you what part was damaged. Nice. Called shots, scavenging parts, ramming, horses. And then weapons and vehicles and gears. Here's more detail. All right. Let's see. So trade, bartering. Yeah. So they're talking about the bullets as currency. Yeah. So how many bullets? So you spent all your bullets to buy a gun, and now your gun is useless. So scavenging parts, jury rigging. Yeah, workshops. Yeah, once you set up a base, you can have a workshop. Oh, nice. Here we go. So here's all the weapons. So melee weapons. Bows and thrones, civilian weapons, combat pistols, bolt action, semi-auto, pipe gun, pump action shotgun. Yeah, so the stats for everything. Oh yeah, there weren't equipment cards. That's too bad, because especially for like a scavenging survival game, I like that in Alien that all the weapons had equipment cards. So if you drop them, you can just discard the card, and so, remembering that you do or don't have that. So I wonder if they're doing that additionally. It would be worth with the PDF printing these out, having the stats and printing them out. So you could kind of do that. Say, this is what you have. And I guess though you're not going to be dropping things as much. Like once you find something, you got to hold on to it and repair it. So yeah. Oh, and here's just all the stats in the table. That's great. They do illustrations for all the weapons, kind of give you some good visual. Hey Kenji, how's it going? I'm showing your hidden comment in the chat. Nice. Things are getting heavy now. And then and Soviet military weapons. Oh, nice. Yeah, so they're breaking it up between US military and Soviet military. Give you that flavor. Excellent. Swedish military. Oh, that's cool. Maybe that's why they didn't do weapon cards, because there's so many. It's going to be bigger than the deck of playing cards. Nice. Yeah, that's great. And here's your grenades, and then all of the artillery, vehicular weapons, mortar, and showing you what rounds can be included. Howitzers. I can't wait to find a howitzer. Nice. Yeah, so all the mines and explosives. And then vehicle features. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I've seen this too. Yeah, so this is these were all the Tamiya models that I saw. They have models for all very standard modern vehicles. So it'd be great to paint some of these up on the table, because they're not going to be so common. So you're not going to have to do that many of them. But yeah, they've got some great plastic military kits here in Japan. So the stats on all the vehicles, Soviet vehicles, Swedish military. Okay, so maybe Tamiya doesn't have all the Swedish military vehicles, but I'm sure they have the Soviet and the US. Oh, that's cool. Give you a visual representation of the different helmet styles. Cool. Oh yeah, and the difference was between all the different gear. There's civilian radios, Soviet military radios, observation gear, protective gear, medical supplies, tools and spare parts, fuel and stills, electricity, explosions, food and drink, home base. So the first thing you need to do in order to establish a home base is find a suitable location. There are plenty of ruins out there in the wasteland, even some in decent shape. Your best bet is to find some pre-existing structure for building to settle down in. You might be lucky enough to come across these empty locations. So bomb shelter, farms, junkyards. So map of the base. Once you've established a home base, we recommend you draw a very simple map of it using the 10-meter hexagons. So it'll help you visualize the base and run any combat encounters. Effects of the base. So once you've established it, as long as you want, without you. So yeah, that you can sleep and rest there without survival rolls. Existing facilities, upkeep. You must spend shifts repairing and upkeep. So you're doing stamina rolls with a builder specialty. And then encounters, you could have hostility and troubles there. And then here's all the facilities that'll give you different modifiers that you build. So basic tools, you need a cow. If you want a cow pen, you're going to need a cow first. Oh, that's cool. And then the rules for construction. And then travel. Oh, look at that art. Yeah, I love these. These painted illustrations. All right. Okay, so yeah, talking then about the travel maps again and giving you the stats on all the different types of hexes. So tasks and shifts of the day. Morning, day, evening, night. Combat, terrain, marching, gathering, scrounging. So the various tasks you can do in the course. Yeah, so they kind of break up the time in shifts and things. So you can kind of speed things up. You can get through a day and, still keep track of everything you would have accomplished in a day. Light and darkness, marching, weather, force marched, driving by night, mishaps, fuel and stills. So you need fuel to operate. And so if you can just use ethanol, you'll be fine. Yeah, alcohol fuel, there it is. Gasoline and diesel are hard to come by. Modifying your engine to run on ethanol or methanol is a tech roll. Or you could just get a horse, and then you can eat the horse. Keeping watch, scrounging, foraging. Yeah, so a lot of the same kind of survival mechanics we saw in the hex crawl of Forbidden Lands. And then here's all the, how to build everything. Wow, look at all this stuff. Yeah. Alarm clock, aspirin bottle, axe, so all the components you can use. A skateboard has +1 mobility on pavement, but not in forests. Hunting. Nice. Making camp. Yeah, so temporary camps. Oh, nice. There's mishaps at your camp. A table for rolling mishaps. Cooking and sleeping, exploring, city travel, water travel, and the index. All right, so that was the whole player's manual. So that's basically, so that gives you the mechanics of and kind of what they modified for the Year Zero system. That's nice. And the book is easy to flip through too. I think I'm kind of glad when I saw, always with box sets, when I see the paper, the soft cover, I'm always a little disappointed, but this has a really nice finish on it. It's not, I've been flipping through it pretty hard and it's not beat up at all. It still looks nice and intact. And it's easy in the course of the game to flip through. So I don't have any problem. And because they call them, they're kind of field manuals, I guess it's good they're not hardcover. I like what they did. Initially, I was worried, but flipping through these is really nice and satisfying. It's going to be easy to find stuff because sometimes the big, thick, if this was all combined together in a thick hardcover, it definitely wouldn't be as useful at the table. I'm starting to feel that very much. I printed out from PDFs. I just print out different sections and things from the big books so you can for them pretty easy. Hey, let's break up the monotony of the flip through with a quick look at the screen. So now that we know the rules and things, let's see what they're going to give the referee to look at. Nice. All right. So a little cover page there. And so, yeah, the horizontal oriented. So, yeah, 3-panel. So this is, yeah, getting pretty standard now. 3-panel with all of our... Oh, nice. Yeah, look at that. So very nice snowy piece of art on the player-facing side. That looks great. Oh, yeah, this is going to be great. I got to get this on the table, or at least on the virtual tabletop. Jeez. Yeah, so here's all your modifiers for ranged and combat. Oh, good. And then the slow actions, fast actions, free actions. And your key for your hex types. And vehicle components, critical injury table, different types of barriers, the critical injury and all the hit locations, and heavy weapons fire modifications, explosion radiuses, and then the d6 for your deviation. Cool. That looks like enough. I think there's some stuff I could also use, but yeah, that's a good and it's nice. I mean, look at it matches, thematically the distressed and stained paper look, and it's nice quality too. They really do a nice nice and sturdy and a good finish. So nothing is going to be peeling off of this or anything. You don't see any cut corners. It's all wrapped and bound well. So yeah, just like usual, Free League high level of quality. Looking good. All right, so there was our referee screen, and now our referee's manual. All right, let me get this a little bit out of the way. There we go. Okay, so if there's anything, that maybe everybody can't see in this, I'll kind of flip through it quicker. But there we go. Yep, Martin Grip, did all of the... Oh, and even so the cover art for this too. So, oh, wow. So this is Martin Grip as well. All of the ink and wash illustrations. Nice. Yeah, it had a little bit of a different style. I guess his anatomy and stuff is still similar. But, yeah, that's nice. The same artist. Okay. So, what do we have in the referee's manual? So, the chapter 1 is the World at War, the Road to War, an overview of Poland, Sweden, and so the two kind of settings. And then the situation of other countries. So Germany, France, UK, America, rest of the world. Chapter 2 is your job as a referee. So kind of advice on running it. Principles of the game, starting the game, preparing the sessions. And then chapter 3, encounters. So the list of encounters, radio chatter, rumors, and mood elements. So that's nice. Chapter 4, factions and forces, so the Polish, Swedish, and general forces. So the 5th Infantry, the 3rd Armored, Soviet Reserve Group, the Jagged Sword. Nice, so we get some detail of the setting. In Chapter 5, scenario sites. So the situation, the locations, and then here's our scenarios. The prison, America Town, Children's Crusade, the burnt town, and scenario site generator. That's good. All right, and just running through location, NPCs, and events. Oh, and this. Oh, no, I don't remember this. In the Kickstarter, there are solo rules. Okay, well, we may be doing a stream again soon. So solo rules, hex crawling tools, getting started, the Oracle, creating encounters. So this is going to be, you're basically your UI, creating, or your AI. What's going to run the game that's not you. Creating encounters, helpful or hazardous, NPC motives, settlements, and further elements. Oh, that's great. Conversion rules. So NPC tasks, weapons, and vehicles. And then designer notes at the end. Look at that. The World at War. Nice. So a little bit of a timeline. Yes, this is going to be a lot of our chapter backstory. So here's the map we get for Poland. Nice. Oh, that's cool. And kind of where everything is located as of. and Sweden, and there's the Swedish map, and then the different locations, and then where things are kind of set up. Yeah, naval bases, tank battalions. Oh, nice, nice. And then other countries, Germany, France, America, rest of the world. When the two superpowers went to war, even those nations far removed from their struggle, or at least wish they would be, were drawn into the whirlwind. From South America to Africa, Australia to Japan, the scaffolding which supported society fell. Nice. We'll have to do the war for Kyoto. Oh, that's right. Hokkaido would be great for this because it's very, Russia adjacent, and there's a lot of contested islands between Russia and Japan anyhow. Oh, I got to get a Hokkaido map drawn up. All right, so your job as a referee. Oh, here we go. So the principles of the game. So this is something that in the big books we've seen before, but kind of talks about. So here's 8 general principles for Twilight 2000 to help you create the right feeling for the game and to guide you when you're unsure how to handle situations. So nowhere is safe. In the world of Twilight 2000, there are no safe havens. Deadly threats are everywhere. Resources are scarce. To survive, they must hunt for resources. Players lead the way. So it's an open world survival game where the PCs are free to go where they want, use the large travel maps, and allow players to ponder their decisions and where they want to go. Do not steer them. Number 4, rumors abound. Facing an open world there's no idea where to go. Facing an open world, having no idea where to go can be paralyzing and even uninteresting for players. They need to have enough information or reason to go somewhere. So it is your job to feed them information about the world around them in the form of rumors or radio transmissions. Oh, that's cool. And yeah, audio-wise, it'd be great to put together some weird radio, or at least some static, a nice static bed where you can do your radio voice. Sorry. 5, everything is personal. So the PCs are not faceless adventurers killing for gold. They are individuals with dreams and relationships, and they need to work together to survive. 6, the end is never set. It's fine to consider the twists and turns of the campaign that you might take beforehand, but if you want to prepare a few encounters or scenarios, do so. But don't become a slave to your plans. 7, death is part of life. So killing the PCs is not your goal, but if it happens, let it. Don't fudge dice rolls or throw in miraculous Deus ex machina to save the PC's life. They should feel vulnerable. And 8, hope never dies. So Twilight 2000 isn't only about pain and suffering. The darkness needs to be contrasted with the light of hope for a new and better life. Threaten the PC's dreams, but do not snuff them out. Even if the dark nights of World War III, in the dark nights, there are always a speck of light on the horizon. Or a burning farmhouse. Oh, nice. All right. Yeah, so deciding how to start, where to start the game, preparing your sessions, NPCs, encounters. So there's all the... oh yeah, I'm curious if they have a table for the cards. So here's some typical NPCs and the list of encounters. Here we go. Yeah, so there's the all the information that's on the cards is then reproduced in this book, and you can so if they pull from a standard deck of cards, then you can consult this to see what which card and suit they have drawn. Nice. Yeah, so there's all of the encounters of the decks. So, and then nice, there's radio chatter and rumors, randomly generated, more rumors, mood elements. Oh, nice. So some text to kind of let people feel, nature or destruction in the setting. Mood elements, fields. So woods and fields. Then the factions and forces. Yeah, so talking about the different divisions and things amongst the Polish and Swedish armies and the general groups. All right, and the scenario sites. Oh, here we go. Yeah, the prison. Okay, so there we go. Oh, that's what. Yeah, that's obviously what that was. So interesting that they reproduce it in here, like exact scale. I guess they don't mark any of the locations or anything on the hex map. Interesting. And NPCs, America Town. Yeah, so here's just the different settings. Yeah, so I guess they're showing you what everything is, where the players have to kind of figure that out for themselves. Yeah, no NPC cards either. I wonder if they're going to do weapons and NPC cards. Maybe there's just too many. Because that was, yeah, we had 2 decks of cards for Alien. Just reminds me, yeah. So, stockpiles, there we go. Bombed out town. And so here's the generator. So the village, roadblock, military base, radio tower, camp, and the urban sites, police station, schoolhouse. Oh, nice. Kind of put things in their place. Yeah, so you could draw things on the fly, basically, if you had kind of stock for each of these kind of buildings. And then characteristics of the site, the situation, key NPCs, allegiance. Yeah, so you can develop sites very much on the fly. And the events that are happening there. And here's solo rules. Wow. Yeah, this is surprising. I don't remember this. Too many Kickstarters. These rules should be considered guidelines for your solo game. You, the player, have total agency. We've provided a host of prompts, tables, and ideas to help form your progress, but through the hex crawl of your world. What you find may be random. How you tie it together as a narrative need not be. Saddle up your troops and get ready to endure the harsh world of Twilight 2000 as a single player. So hex crawling, some of the very first role-playing relied on the exploration of a map broken down into hexes. So players need to decide which hex to explore next, and the referee should tell them where they are found. So behind the scenes, referees crafted stories from these encounters, but players drove them into action. This is the nature of the hex crawl and a core element of how Twilight 2000 is played. Your solo hex crawl is much the same, only you lack a referee independent from the players. You must take on both roles to help generate random table generation throughout this section and advice on tying these disparate encounters into cohesive stories. But you can perfectly well enjoy simply exploring and trying to survive. So the tools and getting started, the Oracle. So while tools in the normal rules should be enough to play solo for quite some time and resolve most situations, there will be times when you need a little bit more guidance. This is where the Oracle comes in. In role-playing games, an Oracle is a mechanic that provides a solo player with a method to generate answers to questions while also providing a random encounter. The box set includes a deck of cards to generate encounters. This deck will also be given further use as an Oracle in solo play. You can use any standard deck of cards with no jokers. When consulting the Oracle, you draw a card from the deck. There's a binary quality to each card, red and black. We further granulate by what's on the card, but a lot can be discovered by simply looking at the color. Red is a boon, black is a hazard. In some instances, you might also want to try to know the very general disposition of the encounter, help or hazard. In others, you need to know what degree. So look at the value of the card. This tells you how much hazard or helpful. A 2 of diamonds is neutral. It is not liable to harm you. The same applies to a 2 of clubs or any other suit. As you increase the card's value, you move further away from neutral. Creating encounters. Oh, that's really cool. Very cool. Yeah, so flipping a deck of cards will be fun as to inform you. Yeah, so let's see. Is there any? Oh, yeah. So it's just that. Yeah, they're just talking about the value. So maybe visually more interesting to use the just standard playing cards. So plot points, settlements. Oh wait, there's a table of PC motivations, settlement problems and attacks, and further elements. So look for places to connect encounters, themes, etc. Your world isn't just one encounter after another. You'll meet factions again and again. Nice. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so the Oracle will be the deck. So here's conversion rules is the second appendix here. So using these tables and rules in this appendix, you can easily convert PCs, NPCs, and weapons and vehicles from the first and second editions of Twilight to 4th. Oh, so this is conversion for into 4th. Of course it is. All right. Yeah, so what are the equivalents? And kind of the rules of thumb for how to move things in. That's good. So that means, all your old books and things will have new life if you like the system. I'm curious. I'm going to watch some reviews of fans of the original players and fans of the previous version, and if this is enough like it, streamlined in a nice way, or if there's just too much missing that people become frustrated. And the designer's notes, it all started like so many other Free League projects as an idea born out of a personal gaming passion. Very nice. Yep, and then just the index. So that's good. So most of this manual is actually just what's on the cards, but same way, it's a very nice, nicely put together, and it has solo rules in it. That's interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting. So it might be nice to just pull those out separately. All of those tables, just print those. All right. So this is everything that was in this noisy metal box. So everything can fit back in here. Yeah, that's nice. And I'm going to find something to put all those to bust out those tokens and put them in. But that is everything. So this has been... Sorry, making so much damn noise. Oh, wait, let's just do it this way just for fun. Wow. So this has been Twilight 2000. So yeah, I like the look and the system. There wasn't anything that particularly turned me off, and I was definitely off about the resource management. So I really like how they did encumbrance and resource management. It's not so light and ignored. So I think the survival elements of this can be pretty rough and pretty fun. So this was the deluxe edition, so I don't think they're going to make this, they're not going to make this for retail, but you can pre-order the regular box set, which is everything that you saw in here minus the metal box. So it's just the standard box set, and but it contained everything. And I'm curious if they're going to do any more cards, because yeah, they did include the images in the manual, like for the NPCs. That's kind of nice to see the portraits of NPCs. I kind of like that. But yeah, this looks really fun, and I think this is something that will also play very well on virtual tabletop, which is something that obviously they expected that because they developed the Foundry, official Foundry content for it. But yeah, I'm really happy with the quality of everything. Everything looks good, and I'm going to start dreaming about my Hokkaido conflict right now between the Soviets and the Japanese. Oh man, that could be very complicated, because Japan's defense force is going to be quite different. But yeah, so hex crawling survival with a military and a very kind of granular bent for tracking everything, and movement and scavenging and repair. I think they did a good job. I like a lot of the adjustments that they made for how gear is affected, how ammunition works. Yeah, there's some really nice stuff in here. So hopefully we can get this to the table, and at the very least, I will try some solo play. I think that will be a very fun thing to do, and that actually might help me work through, like if you want to like make a new location, like what you would actually do. So very fun. So this has been Twilight 2000, and I'm glad this showed up, and I can put all my ammunition in this box. Very cool. Yeah, I don't think these are going to get back in the box very often. I think they're going to be out a lot more. But yeah, some interesting decisions, some things we've seen before. This is very recognizable as a Year Zero engine game, but there's some nice adjustments, and I'm glad that they obviously, there's some things that are working well. So they kept like the card tilting aspect and things with the initiative cards. So there's some things that are going well. It's a lot of custom dice, which you don't necessarily need, but you're always going to be checking a table until you kind of get it in your head. But yeah, this looks really fun, and I think there could be some really nice ways to play. I like that they made, get into your character very deeply, or just play an archetype, so you kind of have some flexibility, like how much you want to commit to it. You can just do this basically as a one-shot and just grind through some hexes and see, how much you enjoy the interaction. Or you can, have a much more planned campaign, because it looks like there's enough in the referee's manual as far as sites and everything that they developed the maps for, that you can try the game out. And if you really enjoy, what you encountered and how things are going, I think you can get players to kind of stick through it. And then also the settlements. I think the settlement mechanic is good too, because that gives people a goal. Because they talk about in the player's manual about taking back and remaking the world again. And so starting with a settlement, and you could even elaborate on that. So you're essentially building a town eventually. So very interesting. But this is the 4th edition of Twilight 2000 by Free League. I'll put a link to both the pre-order for this new edition. It's coming out the middle of this November, so 2021, November 2021. I think the middle, like 15th or 16th. It'll be available in retail. So they're taking pre-orders now, and the box set is available, as well as the referees. Oh, which does fit in here, the referees, that begs the question why it wasn't included in the set. Interesting. So the pre-order is going on for the next couple of weeks, retail middle of this month. And you can also get all of the previous. So now that you see they have conversion stats for it, all of your previous books, as well as all of the digital versions of the previous books available on DriveThru RPG, can give you more material and more inspiration for playing the game. So if you like the system, there's a lot to play in there. And yeah, there's just a lot of stuff, and I think putting a lot of having a lot of fun props and things on the table will be good stuff as well. Oh man, yeah, it's fun. I'm glad this finally arrived. I can't wait to get this on the table, virtual or real, analog tabletop, with some players. So thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed this, please like this video and give me a comment about kind of what your experience is. If you're interested in this, or if this does not sound like anything you want to deal with, in the comments, because I'm really curious. The Year Zero system adapts really well to different settings, and I think they did another nice job of making it fit, because this is a pre-existing game. I mean, this is the 4th version of this game, and they're changing the game system behind it. And so does it still maintain the same flavor? I think original players will probably have some pretty strong opinions about that. But subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more of these. We have a lot of unboxings, another unboxings in the playlist. So all of the previous Free League games we've unboxed and reviewed. So if you'd like to see that. And just recently I've started, when we do the unboxing, doing the flip through so people can get a taste. So it's not just if you're waiting for your pre-order or you're waiting for your Kickstarter pledge to arrive, you can see what it looks like. You'll have an idea of what the game, a quick run through and kind of, early thoughts about the game itself. So you have an impression, and lets you know a little bit more about if it's for you or not. But yeah, I'm really happy with what they did with Twilight. I love that they did a metal box. All right. So thank you for watching, and we will do this again soon. So upturntable.com is a website for everything. And of course, this channel on YouTube and Twitch, and also the podcast. We do a weekly live stream where we discuss topics in tabletop. And so that's the weekly live on Upturned Table. So, and also, if you would like to support what we're doing, please consider becoming a patron, patreon.com/upturnedtable, and you'll get access to not only our exclusive Mutant Chronicles audio fiction, but a special, like, full cut of the weekly podcast in audio version on the Patreon RSS feed. and all kinds of good stuff, as well as input, as well as like direct connection and input with us and what we're doing. So thank you for watching, and we'll be back again soon. Goodbye.
so